بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Interpretation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We are thankful to Allah that He allowed us to have a brief interpretation of Quran. We were talking about some verses of chapter Baqarah. This chapter is the longest chapter of Quran which is revealed in Medina. Please listen to verse 214.
والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا وصية لأزواجهم متاعا إلى الحول غير إخراج فإن خرجن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن من معروف والله عزيز حكيم.
And those of you who die and leave wives behind, a bequest in favor of their wives of maintenance for a year without turning them out. فإن خرجن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن من معروف والله عزيز حكيم. Then if they themselves go away, there is no blame on you for what they do of lawful deeds by themselves, and Allah is mighty, wise. As we understand from this verse, Allah says when a person is going to die, Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ. Although it is passive, and as a translation we can translate as a whoever died. But since we know that Allah is talking about a will for the wife, wasiyah, which is will, and as Allah is advising men that they should leave a will for their family, their wives, we understand that Allah meant those who are going to die, last days of their life, for example. وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا. Those who are going to die, وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا, and they leave their wives behind, وَصِيَّةً لَأَزْوَاجِهِمْ. They should have a wasiyah, a will for their wives. To do what? مَتَاعًا إِلَى الْحَوْلِ. To have a will for the family to take care of the wives for 1 year. It means for 1 year her expenses is on the shoulder of the money that the husband has left, and the husband should have such a will. غير إخراج. And the family will not ask the wife to leave the home for 1 year. Then Allah says, فَإِنْ خَرَجْنَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنْ. But if the women marry by themselves to somebody else and wants to leave home, that's okay. But the family cannot ask the wife to leave home. There is a discussion among scholars, as we understand from this verse. So the responsibility for the expenses of the wife for 1 year is on the shoulder of the husband. And in previous verses, in verse 234, we were talking about those people who passed away and they leave the wife behind. Allah says in that one that when a person dies and leave the family only for 4 months and 10 days is the responsibility of the husband. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَأَشْرًا. Allah says, those who die and leave the wife should wait only for 4 months and 10 days. It means for this time she cannot marry, and it is obligated for the husband to take care of the wife's expenses. We will understand that so the expenses is in the shoulder of the husband for 4 months and 10 days. And here Allah in verse 240, Allah says, وَصِيَّةً لَأَزْوَاجِهِمْ مَتَاعًا إِلَى الْحَوْلِ. مَتَاعًا إِلَى الْحَوْلِ, it means provision for 1 year. So here Allah said 1 year, and over there Allah said 4 months and 10 days. There is a discussion among scholars that, okay, what is our duty? We should say it is obligated for men to take care of the expenses of the wife for 4 months and 10 days or for 1 year. Of course, before death, the husband should tell to the members of the family. Some scholars says we must believe that this verse, it means verse 240, is revealed before the verse 234. On 240, Allah said 1 year, and at the beginning it was obligated for men to take care of the expenses of their wife for 1 year. After that, Allah, because of the abrogation, Allah brought this new verse and this law. Allah abrogated that one and ordered people only to take care of the expenses of their wife for 4 months and 10 days. This idea for those people who believe that there is an abrogation in Quran, naskh in Quran, and this is one of the examples that at the beginning it was necessary for men to take care of their wives for 1 year. It means after their death, it is on the shoulder of the husband who passed away. And now it is changed only for 4 months and 10 days that Allah says in verse 234. This is one of the answers. So the answer is abrogation, and the verse 240 was revealed first and it was abrogated, and the new law, verse 234, is the new law that it is on the shoulder of the husband only for 4 months and 10 days. Second answer, they said no, this is not example of abrogation. It is the difference between verse 234 that it is talking about 4 months and 10 days and verse 240 that it is talking for 1 year. The difference is one of them is obligated and one of them is recommended. Verse 234, which is talking about 4 months and 10 days, this is the minimum. It is obligated for any man to care and give the expenses for his wife for 4 months and 10 days. But verse 240, it says it is recommended for the family that when a person passes away for 1 year to spend the money from the husband for the wife if she wants to stay in the same house and she did not marry. So 4 months, 10 days is obligated, and for 1 year is recommended, which is mustahab. There is a question here that what does abrogation means? Abrogation, of course, means that the law that was until now, it is abrogated, and now there is a new law. This is the meaning of abrogation. One will finish and new one is coming. There is a question that, okay, abrogation in our law that are made in a country by parliament, for example, we can understand when they want to approve a law, they cannot see all the dimensions, and they approve some law. After some time, they will understand that there are some shortages, some problems, and they are going to change it. Since Allah knows everything about the future, how it is possible that Allah approves a law and obligates something to the people, and after some time it will be changed? This is the question regarding to abrogation in Islamic laws that we have in Quran. The answer, a scholar says, yes, this is true. Usually, abrogation in other laws are because of that those who make a law and prove the law do not see the future and the problems of the law, and little by little they understand, then it should be changed. This is one of the reasons, one of the situation. But sometimes even it happens for ourselves. We approve a law only for certain time. We know that the situation in future will be changed. Now there is a crisis. There is a shortages of some items, and we approve the law. For Allah, when we say abrogation, it means by abrogation we understand that the first law had a certain time, although we didn't know that. From the beginning, Allah knew that this law is for a short time, for a certain time. When it is changed, we understood after it was changed that from the beginning it had a certain time, and the time has finished. So abrogation in Islamic laws means the time for the first law has finished and the time for new law started. This is the question and answer. There are a few messages that we can get from this verse. One, we will understand that men are recommended to have a bill regarding to their wives minimum for 1 year to take care of the wives, to give the expenses and anything that she needs. I said according to one of the idea is obligated, and according to one it is recommended. We understand from this point that Allah is advising men to think about the women after their life. Allah doesn't want that the women go to their children and ask them for food or anything else, or to neighbors or any members of the family. A wife who was living until now with the respect, it is not good that the husband will leave her just like that without having will about her food and her life. Then Allah says, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Of course, the husband should not ask the wife to leave the home for 1 year. If she wants to stay at home, she should stay. Then Allah says, فَإِنْ خَرَجْنَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ. But if they go by themselves, they go out and they leave it, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي مَا فَعَلْنَا. There is no blame on you for what they do of lawful deeds. It means if they decide for themselves something which is good and it is lawful for themselves, that's okay. Let them decide for themselves, and there is no blame on their husbands. Then Allah says, Wallahu Azizun Hakim, and Allah is mighty wise. Allah wants to say that any rules that Allah has put for the people to practice it, people should understand that this is good for them, either they understand the reason or not. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.